Universe.
Welcome if you're new, welcome back if you're not. I promised y'all I would make a video on this. Let's do it. So being that I'm from the South and I'm black, it's not a shock that I grew up on Gucci Mane. You know, he was getting played at parties, family functions, the radio. I mean, Freaky Girl, Swing My Door. Come on, y'all. These songs went platinum in black households. Well, at least mine. Massive long story short, this man is a legend in the hip hop space. I mean, do we really truly need to speak about how, well, I don't want to say great, but how we all know who Gucci Mane is? No, I don't. The Countless Projects, the beef I think is low-key way more interesting than the Drake and Kendrick beef, which was the Jeezy and Gucci beef. Come on, bird, nigga. Gucci Mane is a GOAT. I would say more, but y'all are just gonna say I'm riding it without a license. So the last thing I'll say about Gucci is that he's one of my favorite rappers of all time. If they say he can't rap, you're just not listening to bro. And that's cool, I guess. All that to say though, Gucci Mane is a solidified legend who has made quite a bit of money from hip hop. With him being so influential down to those very insane Dat Piff mixtape covers, and y'all know which ones I'm talking about, please tell me y'all recognize these. I mean, Gucci was really one of those early DIY artists that pushed the whole do-it-yourself movement back in the early 2000s. Dropping so much music, I really couldn't even get into how much of it there actually is. We'd be here for a minute. And it was mostly under the label back in 2007 that he started named So Icy Boys, which went well enough, not that well, which is why it only lasted 3 years. Then it went to 1017 Brick Squad, which had some names you may know like Flocka and OJ the Juice Man. Hey, y'all want to know something? That only lasted about 3 years too. And if you want to know, the TLDR is that Gucci Mane had tweeted that Waka Flocka was dropped from the label. Less than 24 hours later, Gucci Mane's manager had claimed that he was hacked. Right. This all while there was beef between the artists within 1017 Brick Squad. As you can see, Gucci Mane is no stranger to causing issues between him and his business partners, as you can see throughout this story. Gucci Mane has a real problem with accountability. Give you a prime example, and God strike me down if I'm lying. Gucci Mane signed an artist named Baby Rax and dropped him within the same fucking day. He tweeted, "Congratulations to Baby Rax, first artist to get signed and dropped in a day. That dude is not signed to 1017. By the way, he tweeted and deleted that. I'm guessing he was hacked again, right? Not this time though. And that's because Baby Rax had tweeted, "I'm definitely not fucking with Houston after Takeoff's death," which was at the time. Don't be, because I'm not coming. Oh my God. You niggas need to stay off Twitter. Now, in my opinion, Baby Rax kind of took the W here if you ask me, because after Gucci tweeted that, he would also tweet, "Congratulations to Baby Rax. Appreciate the video and flying me and my team out. Appreciate that check Atlantic Records sent. Thank you, Gucci. I'm a free agent now." Then he tweeted at basically Gucci Mane's ops, trying to get them to sign him. I mean, he got some money, a music video with Gucci Mane in it, and then he gets dropped? From one of the worst labels in the world at that? I think he dodged a bullet. But let's get into why I prefer 1017 as a bullet, right? Because isn't it a rapper's dream to get signed and get a large, advance or whatever, whatever you would consider large, and perform and tour and, whatever else comes with being a signed artist? Well, you'll see. So if you guys don't mind, let me actually get into the label. I'm gonna skip over the whole him getting locked up era because him getting cloned. I don't feel like talking about that. I mean, if you really don't remember when Gucci first got released and there was real, actual breathing human beings with brains that thought he was cloned, quote unquote, just because he had an admirable body transformation, he was in prison for 3 years. If you don't remember that, you're probably too young to even be watching this video. Like, bro, if you're locked and don't come out at least moderately more built, you were probably getting hold. I'm gonna just leave it there. So after serving 3 years in prison, he'd start a new record label, no longer So Icy, no longer Brick Squad 1017, just 1017 Eskimo. Well, at first it was named 1017 Eskimo, but then it just became 1017. This label is under Alamo Records and Empire for distribution, right? So basically, there's a lot of back end and behind the scenes shit going on in order to push these artists up ahead, or whatever the case may be. Now, the first artists that were signed under this label were Hood Rich Pablo Juan, Asian Doll, LOL, and Lil Wop. Remember him? Yeah, well, eventually, 1017 will rebrand once again, yes, again, to the version that most of you know today, which is the new 1017. Now, this is just a nitpick, But if I were a hot rapper or whatever, I'm not going with the label that has been under 4 different names, right? Like, that's like moving into one of those apartments where 3 years ago it was called like the Grand at Oaks and now it's called the Perimeter or some shit. That's bad management and it's giving cracks in the foundation. Keep that shit in mind. So this new 1017 had a roster, a massive roster, and we're gonna get into some of it. I mean, if I got into all of it, bro, we'd be here for like an hour. I'm not doing that. Before I do that though, let me quickly explain why I'm even making this video other than the obvious title or whatever. If you're under a rock and don't listen to rap very much, or you're just intrigued by the title of the video, you're probably not aware that almost everyone we're going to speak about in this video is either no longer in 1017, dead, or in jail. The reason for this will become increasingly obvious as we move forward, but keep in mind that signing to 1017 is basically more of a curse than a blessing. You know, let's start off small. We spoke about it very briefly in the Lil Wop video, but when he signed to 1017, it was his dream actually. Lil Wop had been quoted multiple times saying, Gucci Mane is one of my favorite artists and he really one of my biggest influences. I mean, he even has the iconic snow cone face tat just like Gucci Mane, you fucking dick rider. Oh my God. Gucci Mane, I fuck with you so much. Let me see what that bussy talking about though.
Gucci Mane got some good bussy. Huh?
Remember though, you know, I said he was in 1017. He probably doesn't feel this way now since after he got a little bit of buzz, you barely heard shit about him unless you were just tapped in already. He didn't get that global push that other artists did, and that's probably because his music wasn't that good for a more mainstream appeal. Either way, he wasn't signed for too long and ended up getting out of his deal and turned into a girl, so whether or not that's on 1017, is up to you, like on God. But I'm gonna go out on a limb and just say whatever happened between him and Gucci was probably his fault. This is the same dude that gooned in public, so it wouldn't fucking shock me. Now, Asian Doll, on the other hand, a 1017 signee, is also not that different of a case because it seemed like WAP that she had a somewhat bright future ahead of her. She put out way more mixtapes than a lot of you would think, and also, like WAP, she really brought nothing new to hip hop, down to her fucking name not even being that original. Asian Doll, Cuban Doll, Cash Doll, Pinky Doll. Okay, that last one was a joke, but you get my point, bro. Asian Doll was the first female artist signed to 1017 back in 2018. And the way that it really happened was, well...
Now, you know, apparently you was probably real young when you signed with him.
Yeah, I was young.
Yeah, you was, you know what I mean, you were young. And what happened? It's like, yo, it just didn't work out?
Yeah. I feel like with 1017, it was more so it wasn't what I needed.
At that time.
At that time,
Yeah.
for as my image and stuff. I didn't want to sign to a big major label at that time because I didn't know like a lot.
Such a smart girl.
I was trying to tell them like, okay, I'm gonna go with Gucci, and we just didn't see the eye to eye. And I was just so young making decisions, and they used to always make decisions for me. So I signed to Gucci, like without them even knowing. I signed, and they found out, and then it was that. So it just didn't work out because of the stuff that we needed as artists. It just wasn't provided.
Long story short, she went behind her own management's back and signed to Gucci Mane, even when they were telling her not to do that. And like women usually, my fault, like how some people usually do, they just don't listen. And notice how she's real talkative up until she gets to the actual answer to the question of why it didn't work out under 1017. Like, I'm seeing it, bro. Quote, the stuff that we needed as artists just wasn't provided, unquote. Let's break down what an artist needs. Creative control, money, more creative control, and more fucking money. I mean, with the one trick like Asian Doll who coattails off of being King Von's partner, at a certain point, it's not really like she needed much more than that. Now, let's not do too much on her, as the label she was signed to definitely didn't do her very proper. Whether that's her fault or not, again, is up to you, even though she was warned beforehand. We gonna move on, though, to another 1017 victim. Like, Hot Boy West? Yeah, I guess it would be crazy to call him a victim, seeing as what happened to him is quite literally his fault. Hot Boy West realistically only had one hit, and I feel like if he didn't run the mother of his children with the children in the car off the road, he would have gotten the Asian Doll treatment anyway. Yes, you heard me right. But hold on that. West was a rapper from Texas that was basically given a chance by Mr. Guwap himself. They've got a few different songs together, and it seemed like everything was going well for bro. Unfortunately, the problem with Gucci Mane is he signs people that are fresh off the streets, still in the streets, or can't leave the streets. YNs, Except for WAP. Yeah. Point being, bro, Hot Boy West was like, I mean, respectfully, it just like, if you told me this guy had a robbery warrant and almost killed his baby mama and his kids, you know, I'm going to take one look and not, you know, I'm not going to think you're lying. He told the officers after this incident that he was merely just trying to see his children. Where, bro? In a fucking casket? What are you doing? Now, do I think that this is Gucci Mane's fault? No, clearly not. I don't think West was a bad artist. Personally, his music just wasn't for me, but Gucci decided to give this dude a chance. And the problem with him, and like the other artists we're going to speak about, is the fact that they're just too deep in at the point to where it's not much room for changing in their minds. This was a grown ass man. And I mean, the dude got sentenced to 15 years in prison.
A Waco rapper has been sentenced to 15 years in prison on multiple felony counts that include violent acts against the mothers of his children. Wesley Lewis, known by his rapper name Hot Boy West, pleaded guilty to 10 counts alleged in 6 separate indictments. According to court records, Lewis was arrested in February of 2020 after he tried to run the mother of his children off the road with 2 of his children in the car.
When they searched his car, they also found a stolen handgun that was loaded. What the fuck are you doing? Like, be real, bro. You just got signed. Whatever. He's not finished per se, but I can guarantee you we're not waiting on Hot Boy West to come out in the big 2025, bro. Well, let me not say that. I'm not waiting on, bro. But someone that a lot of people I personally know are waiting on, though, is Pooh Shiesty. Now, y'all, don't shoot me. Please don't hit me. But I have never been a fan of his music. I know. I'm sorry. God damn, I'm sorry. But hear me out, okay? I can absolutely acknowledge the fact that his form of talent can be appreciated by, you know, a broad appeal of people. In other words, I understand why people like his music. I just don't. Pooh Shiesty, in my opinion, is one of the best artists that Gucci Mane signed to the amazing 1017 for sure. I remember when he first came out, this dude was blowing up so fast. I think he had features with Dirk and Jack Harlow, which is cool, you know? The industry guys really wanted to work with him. It's funny because you could tell that he was one of those artists that was actually doing their job and making the label money, which is why you would hear his music in the club and TikTok and the radio, you know? Basically actually getting pushed by 1017. You know, just to wrap it back to Asian Doll, right? Remember, she had a completely different experience. And you want to know why? It's because our music fucking sucks. You know, why would 1017 sink money into you if your music isn't being received as well? I.e., Pooh Shiesty. People are definitely waiting on him to be released from prison right now because they loved his music. If Asian Doll went to prison for whatever reason, you know, it's not gonna hit like that. But in all seriousness, unfortunately, Pooh Shiesty is yet again another example of an artist that is too deep in the streets to just stop all the bullshit he is, well, I guess was doing at the time, because he actually has talent and the opportunity to go really far. Now, 1090 Jake did a wonderful video on what exactly happened that caused Shiesty to get locked. If you want to watch that, you can go watch that. But the TLDW is that since 2022, he's been locked up for firearm conspiracy. For those of you that may not know what that is, it's basically conspiring to commit a crime while using a firearm in said crime. There is a video that I am not going to risk showing in full of him getting into a literal shootout with a few other people over drugs and money. Well, you know? Now with Shiesty, the label isn't the issue. We kind of already went over this, is that it's more so user error. Like, why are you in a fucking McLaren getting into a shootout, bro? Robbing anything should not be your priority. You should have been in the studio or something, man. You clearly got money, so like, what the hell, bro? Like, with most of these 1017 artists related incidents, you're going to see that the phrase, you can take a nigga out the hood, but you can't take the hood out of a nigga, is very, very, very true. Now, while he's currently incarcerated, he's expected to be released by at the very maximum end of next year. So, you know, that's cool. Good ending, I guess. But it's not always about how maybe the label isn't doing their job or you're a terrible person. Sometimes it's literally about being at the wrong place at the wrong time or making the wrong decisions. And honestly, combined with this, I think there are other things. I think the deaths are one of the biggest reasons for why people say that this label is cursed, quote unquote. So Enchanting was an artist from Fort Worth, Texas, who, I'm sorry, I know this is a bit of a darker subject I'm on right now, but damn, she was so fine, bro. Like, I'm sorry, she was just really cute. Like, I I high-key had a crush on her. I can't even lie. But the way she got into 1017 was through connections, basically. She got on a song with this one artist. Please forgive me for forgetting the name. But that artist sent that song to a few different other artists and seeing who wanted to get on it. Lo and behold, Gucci Mane was one of them. Then she was randomly asked by said artist, how would you feel about signing to 1017? Because Gucci Mane got on the song and was rocking with it. She said yes, and then not even 24 hours later, Gucci messaged her, and from there on, she became 1017. This was around the same time that Fujiano, Pooh Shiesty, and Big Scar and others were getting on as well. So at this point, the roster is building up and up and up, right? Now, Enchanting was another case where the marketing on her, in my opinion, was phenomenal. She was doing interviews, shows, club appearances, and actually dropping music, which, by the way, Enchanting was like actually fire. Like, I loved her music a lot because she really just talked her shit over beats that at the time I guess were basic to some extent, but the music just had a really good vibe to it. Like, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Unfortunately though, you know this does not end very well.
I don't know what's the exact way that he passed. I know they were saying potentially drug overdoses I was hearing. What can you tell people that can maybe deter them from that, if at all?
I feel like at some point you have to just be like realistic. Like, I understand like that people do whatever they do to maybe help them go if they feel like they going through pain or they just going through something and they want to feel better, but it's like, it's a big risk. Like, you could take one pill and literally die, like immediately. Like, I had a homegirl that took a fake pill and she had a heart attack and died, like immediately. She just had a baby, like a few months before that. Like,
ironically enough, right here, she actually described her own death as just a year and some change later. This is exactly how she would pass away. It was turned out that Enchanting was actually dealing with her own substance abuse issues, and 4 days before she passed, she went to her sister's house to actually try to get clean. Now, it's not exactly known what she was trying to detox from. I really don't think that's any of our business anyway, but she lost the battle to whatever it was, so rest in peace to her. I remember Gucci Mane getting backfired for this too, as if like it was his fucking fault. I don't know, it just kind of felt very weird that people were mad at him. Like, how was that his fault? Point being, Enchanting and Big Scar overdosing in the same year is where people really started to look at 1017 like, okay, what the hell is going on with this label? Why is everyone dying or going to jail? Now, truthfully, I could go further down this list and tell you about more artists that were on this label, but there's no point because we're just going to keep running in circles. Funny enough, Gucci Mane decided to actually drop all of his artists from 1017, you know, the ones that didn't end up in prison or dead. The only ones left standing are now Pooh Shiesty and Fujiano. For whatever reason, I don't know if this means he's going to rebrand for like the millionth time, but I personally think that's a horrible fucking idea. But some artists, you know, especially the more street-coded ones, aren't really going to think about that fact because this is his fourth go at being an A&R, C&O manager, whatever it is you would even consider him. Do I think signing to Gucci is a bad idea? Hell yeah. Do I think if the opportunity presents itself, should you do it? I say that depends on your fan base and your music, because if you're not on the Pooh Shiesty level, I really don't think that 1017 is going to take care of you, bro. Like, as far as the label being cursed, let's be serious. He signs the kind of people that do what they do. 1 foot in, 1 foot out, and y'all know what I mean. That's not Gucci Mane's fault. Now, the whole conspiracy about him taking life insurance out on artists is crazy to say out loud, but it's not that crazy of a concept. And I'm gonna really just leave that there. This label isn't cursed. He just signs criminals, bro. Well, anyway, I love y'all or whatever. I'm UVXCX. Later.
Fucking the king, bitch, I'm dogging his ass. No reply, ain't calling his ass. Keep shit pink, I'm balling his ass. Name the city, I got a different slut. Turn me up, I wanna fuck. I'm off this perk, I'm geeking up.